The cowboy diet and way of life drew inspiration from the people who had been working the land long before Americans began moving westward. In an era before refrigeration, cowboys relied on ingredients that could withstand months or even years without spoiling, often adopting Native American food preservation techniques. While foraging for herbs, berries, and bird eggs was common, cowboys also carried staples for their hearty meals, crucial for sustaining their strenuous work in dusty and arduous conditions. Cowboys also borrowed cultural and culinary elements from Mexican vaqueros, who were experienced cattle herders long before American settlers ventured westward. Vaqueros played a vital role in developing tools like chaps and lassos and trained many future cowboys. Recipes for hearty vaquero cuisine became part of the cowboy lifestyle. The cowboy's role evolved alongside the growth of the ranching industry in the Americas, with Spanish settlers bringing cattle to the New World on early ships. Texas, in particular, became a hub for the cattle industry, initially raising cattle more for their hides and fat than for meat. Fat was valuable for making versatile products like cooking oil, soap, and candles, which were especially important in a world without electricity. The expansion of railroad networks during the Civil War era facilitated the supply of meat to a growing population, with the vast open prairies of the American West ideal for raising cattle. This combination of innovation and demand laid the foundation for the cowboy's pivotal role in the American economy and the westward expansion. The introduction of the chuck wagon transformed the cowboy diet. Early Western cowboys survived on whatever they could carry in their saddlebags or hunt along the trail. However, as the demand for beef increased with the influx of gold seekers and settlers, small cowboy crews evolved into large-scale cattle operations. The primary duty of cowboys was to herd cattle from remote ranches to central markets, auctions, or rail depots, often requiring overnight stays in the open. The chuck wagon, attributed to Charles Goodnight, was a mobile kitchen and pantry that traveled alongside the cowboys. Equipped with cast-iron cookware, the chuck wagon allowed cowboys to enjoy fresh, hot meals, fostering camaraderie and boosting morale. The role of the cook was highly respected by cowboys. Cooks prepared meals for the crew, often working longer hours than the cowboys themselves. They also provided basic medical care and were responsible for setting up the kitchen for each meal. A skilled cook could significantly impact the success of a cattle drive. Coffee was a daily necessity for cowboys, helping them stay alert during long and demanding shifts. The coffee was made strong and black and was brewed constantly in large pots over open flames. It was a critical tool in the cowboys' arsenal, necessary for their early mornings, long days, and frequent all-night work shifts. Sourdough and hardtack were common bread options. Sourdough bread, made using a fermented starter, was favored when a chuck wagon and cook were available. Sourdough was versatile, used for various dishes and offering a unique sour flavor. Hardtack, on the other hand, was a simple, durable, and long-lasting biscuit made from flour, water, and salt. It required soaking before consumption due to its hardness. Fresh meat was a luxury on the trail, primarily consumed when there were enough resources to consume the entire animal. Preserved beef, such as jerky, was more common and could be rehydrated in stews for added flavor and texture. Game like deer, buffalo, and smaller animals were sometimes hunted for variety. Calf fries, also known as Rocky Mountain oysters or prairie oysters, were a delicacy harvested during spring calf castrations. These testicles were considered both a delicacy and an aphrodisiac. Pork, particularly in the form of sowbelly or salt pork, provided the majority of meat when beef was scarce. Sowbelly required soaking to remove excess salt before consumption. Overland trout referred to thinly sliced bacon, a flavorful pork option. Canned goods, known as airtights, provided variety to the cowboy diet. Canned fruits like peaches, tomatoes, corn, and milk offered freshness on the trail. Canned tomatoes were particularly useful for combating dust inhalation. Beans, often referred to as whistleberries, were a staple vegetable. Durable and versatile, they were used in various dishes, adding fiber and protein to the cowboy diet. Dutch ovens allowed cooks to create diverse meals. Cowboys enjoyed chili, which likely originated in the American Southwest, made from readily available meat and beans. Another dish, son of a gun stew, was a cowboy twist on Mexican menudo, using various parts of a cow for a unique flavor. Cornmeal was a versatile ingredient borrowed from Native American cuisine. It was used to thicken stews and baked into biscuits, flat cakes, and cornbread, complementing savory or spicy stews. Beef was the primary source of protein for cowboys. They often had access to fresh beef when driving cattle on long cattle drives. While on the trail, they would consume steaks, roasts, and ground beef. Beef was sometimes eaten in the form of jerky, which was a practical way to preserve meat without refrigeration. Beans were a crucial part of the cowboy diet. They were highly portable and could withstand long journeys without spoiling. Commonly referred to as whistleberries, beans were rich in protein and fiber. Cowboys used beans in various dishes, including stews, to add substance to their meals. Cowboys had several bread options. Sourdough bread was a favorite when a chuck wagon, mobile kitchen, and cook were available. The sourdough starter, made from fermented dough, gave the bread a distinct tangy flavor. Hardtack, a type of biscuit made from flour, water, and salt, was another bread option. It had a long shelf life and was often used during long journeys. Coffee was a vital part of the cowboy diet. It provided the caffeine boost needed for long and strenuous days on the trail. Cowboys brewed strong black coffee in large pots over open flames. Coffee was consumed throughout the day, and it helped keep the cowboys alert during their various duties. Canned goods, often referred to as airtights, brought variety to cowboy meals. Common canned items included peaches, tomatoes, corn, and milk. Canned tomatoes were particularly useful for adding flavor and moisture to cowboy dishes. These canned goods were relatively new innovations during the cowboy era and provided a break from the monotony of dried and preserved foods. Cornmeal was a versatile ingredient borrowed from Native American cuisine. Cowboys used it in different forms to enhance their meals. It could be used to thicken stews, or, when mixed with water and salt, form the basis for biscuits or flat cakes. Cornmeal was also used to make cornbread. While beef was the primary meat source, cowboys occasionally had opportunities to hunt for game. Deer, buffalo, and smaller animals like rabbits and possums were sometimes encountered on the trail. These game meats provided variety to the cowboy diet when they could be obtained. While fresh vegetables were less common on the trail, cowboys sometimes foraged for edible plants like herbs and berries. They also incorporated vegetables like potatoes into their meals when available, adding a touch of freshness to their diet. Cowboys enjoyed chili, a flavorful dish likely originating in the American Southwest. It typically consisted of meat, often beef, beans, and chili peppers, seasoned with various spices. Chili was a filling and hearty meal that provided warmth and sustenance on the trail. This cowboy dish was an adaptation of Mexican menudo. It featured various parts of a cow, including tripe, tongue, liver, and marrow. These ingredients were used to create a stew with a distinctive and rich flavor. Sourdough starter, used for making sourdough bread, was also employed to make pancakes and biscuits. These items added variety to the cowboy diet and showcased the versatility of sourdough as an ingredient. Molasses was sometimes added to beans while cooking. It not only enhanced the flavor but also added a touch of sweetness to the meal. Desserts were a luxury on the trail and were not a regular part of the cowboy diet. However, cowboys occasionally enjoyed dried fruits and sweets when they were available, providing a rare treat amidst their demanding work. Cowboys had their own unique terminology for various aspects of their diet and meals. For example, they referred to food as chuck, which is where the term chuck wagon originates. A cook was often humorously called cookie, and other inventive names such as beanmaster, pot rustler, and dough puncher were used for cooks. While fresh beef was a primary source of meat, it could only be consumed when there were enough crew members to finish an entire animal. Fresh meat spoiled quickly in the absence of refrigeration, so cowboys often relied on preserved beef, such as jerky, as a more practical option. The expansion of railroad networks during the Civil War era played a crucial role in the cattle industry. Railroads provided a means of transporting cattle and meat to markets, increasing the demand for beef and contributing to the growth of the cowboy as an important figure in the American economy. The chuck wagon, equipped with cast-iron cookware, allowed for improved cooking on the trail. Fresh, hot meals became possible, which boosted camaraderie among cowboys and made their diet more enjoyable. The cowboy diet was a testament to survival and adaptation in a challenging environment. Cowboys had to make the most of what was available and preserve food for long journeys, and their culinary practices reflected this resourcefulness. In summary, the cowboy diet was not only a reflection of the challenging and rugged lifestyle of the Old West, but also a testament to the adaptability and resourcefulness of the cowboys who relied on it. It remains a fascinating aspect of American culinary history.